go again.
I demand more!
I want it, I need it, and I'm gonna have it!
Hi guys, Cyclic Scooby again. Just want to show another addition to my dashboard. It's still in breadboard prototyping at the moment, but essentially I've got a wireless button box I've made, but I'm missing having a starter key ignition like a real car, so I've created this rotary encoder starter stroke ignition. Now I appreciate most of the time you start in the pits or on the start line with the engine running, so the ignition isn't that important, but personally I like driving on the Californian highway and starting the car is all part of the simulator for me, so it works either way. But at the moment we're sat here with the engine off, so we've got 0 revs and the ignition lights are on, and the ignition's off, the blue. Now if you turn it a quarter of a turn, you get the ignition on and a throbbing red light. Now because it's a rotary encoder, you can just keep turning it and turning it and turning it, and it always just takes a quarter of a turn to turn it off, so we can rotate that round and round, but then just a quarter of a turn turns it on, and then you press it to start the car like that. Okay, so we can turn the ignition off and all the revs die and ignition lights come on. Ignition on, start, ignition lights off and rev counter on. Like that. It also works because there's a wireless link to the button box. This encoder knows what the engine's doing, so if I were to stall the car on purpose, just to prove the point, then you'll notice that the starter button starts throbbing immediately. Now because the ignition's already on, you don't need to turn the ignition back on, you just need to press it to start it. Okay, and if I stall it again, you're straight into throbbing. And start and stall. So that's my new starter stroke ignition switch. So whilst I was playing with the cars the other day, I found the Indy 500 car, which has the dashboard on the steering wheel like so, and that's given me the opportunity to show you how well that matches up with my gauges on my rev counter. So if I just start the car, okay, what you can see is that my water temperature is just over 60, and on the dashboard there you'll see that the water temperature is 60, just like mine. Also the oil temperature is 63, that's going up. So oil temperature is 68, and on my dashboard it is just under 80. It's close enough. There, now we've got water temperature 68, and I've got just under 70, I'd say. Okay, so that just goes to show that they're reasonably accurate, and also that the shift light, just by coincidence, happens to match this one quite perfectly. Like that. And in case you're interested, because this rev counter only goes to 11,000 RPM, which is quite high for a car, but these cars go considerably higher than that, the rev counter is actually coded to just stop at 11,500. So if I hold that there at 12,800, the rev counter's just sat at 11.5. It doesn't try to go to any more than that. But the shift lights still work regardless. So even though the revs are higher than the rev counter can display, the shift lights will still work accordingly. Someone was mentioning on the bulletin board the other day that they have latency issues using their tablet. So I just wanted to show you that there are no latency issues at all with the dashboard. It appears to be perfectly in time with the TV screen. There's the speedo on the steering wheel is in kilometres, so I've left a little display on the bottom corner so that you can see how well it matches my miles an hour on my screen. And there's also the rev counter, 2081, should match my rev counter reasonably well. So use a paddle for this. Or stall it. I think that proves the point.